So before I get into this, let me ask a question. Why even bother studying these old texts, right, aside from that kind of academic curiosity? And one of the reasons why it's been so popular, and it's kind of growing popularity in my view in the West now when the interest to China kind of exploding, one of the reasons for popularity is that it's a really unique system, it's a framework designed to understand the nature of change and understand, I guess, the fabric of life, what the events are kind of made of. I don't know of any other system which has any remote resemblance of the I Ching, of that kind of well-organized system. It's, on one hand, it's very mathematical in nature, we'll talk about it in a second. Has a mathematical precision in it, literally. On the other hand, it's very qualitative. It has, each of those patterns has a story. It has a story, it has specific instructions on what to do. So, on one hand, it's pure math, on which basically it's a precursor of the binary code, which we know in modern computers. It's also known that the Chinese first developed binary code like a few thousand years ago, right? But at the same time, it's a storytelling, and that's what makes it so intriguing and fascinating and useful. And hopefully we'll just do a couple experiments today together. So each of those patterns is comprised, kind of basically derived as an intersection of this row and a column. And those things on the top, you can do like page down one more time. For example, on the top, we will call up a trigram. The word tree, the root tree signifies three, right? Because of 3 lines. Don't worry too much about all these details. I don't want to give you, I have to say it, but don't try to understand everything. Trigram, 8 of them, and then one more down. Lower trigram, 8 of them here, right? So the intersection of one of the columns and will give you a pattern. And then I'll tell you next what to do with the pattern. So that's how it's organized. But let's go to the next slide. So let's say we have this picture. Hi, how are you? So this is the table. This is the main kind of reference table of the I Ching, of the patterns. And then let's say, page down. Let's say we somehow determine that we need to use this particular trigram, right? And I'll talk about how it's done in a second. And let's say you determine that we used to use this particular trigram. So one more time, a couple of times. The intersection of these two gives you patterns number 7. And pattern number 7 is essentially a reference, is a hexagram. And when it's hexagram, hex root means 6 in Latin, so 6 lines, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So essentially this is a combination of these two together, gives you one hexagram. And you can see it's like a binary in nature. It could be either solid or broken, right? So it's a 1-2 kind of computer code. And if you go next, once you derive that, I'll make a joke about that. So like let's say we got a code, but now we need to translate it into the human language, so to speak, right? To do that, you go to the book. In this case, I just brought a sample of the book I use the most. Thank you. Which I find very user-friendly, very interesting. So if you're interested in the subject, I suggest you get this. You find the appropriate chapter in this book, and then you read. Next slide. You read the text this chapter provides. Just to warn you, what you see here is not what you see in the chapter. This 3 bullet points is my creation. What I did is I took the extensive text. Let's say if you look at the chapter, it has like a text, generally on 2 pages, right? I condensed each chapter to 3 bullet points, essentially customizing for a business type audience, people who are used to seeing information very condensed way and very time constrained. So, so this is kind of my interpretation of what each chapter tells you in a very concise way. For example, in this case, the hexagram number 7 is called the army, right? Don't worry about what it means to you. Let's just go through the army, right? The description of the hexagram is in times of war, it is desirable to be led by a cautious and humane general. Again, whatever that means to you, it may mean nothing, may mean something to you individually, but it's what it tells you. It's kind of a short description. And then it gives you specific points about relevant to the situation. For example, you are advised to prepare. Let me stop for a second. So why would you even do all this, right? How would that work together? We'll just talk about it afterwards. Generally, the way I Ching works, or it was designed meant to work, is that you use it when you face some kind of adversity, or if you face, you're in the midst of change which you don't fully understand. You feel sometimes confused, sometimes you feel unsure, torn, or simply want to have a second opinion, right? So this could be your kind of reference guide to, kind of should help you kind of get insight into the external situation, what's really going on, and into your own mind, right? Kind of try to find something which helps you anchor in this current situation and be able to, navigate it through it as best you can. By the way, you want to sit there? You comfortable here, or are you okay? You comfortable? Yeah. Okay. So let's say with this in mind, you kind of have this question, an issue, and then let's say you yes, come on in. How are you? Just have a seat and get the handouts. So you got after this, you got this hexagram, and then you got this. And then you read whatever it tells you, and try to kind of to see if it makes sense to you. If it has some kind of meaning to your life, to your question, to your life, to whatever you're trying to understand, right? So in this case, you got this abstract code, the army. It tells you the in times of war, it's desirable to be led by a cautious and humane in general. So it talks about the war, it talks about leadership, right? And in this extreme environment as a war. It tells you that you're advised to prepare for trial now. So it's not really easy, right? It tells you success, though, will be determined by your conduct. So it will really depend on what you do. Sometimes nothing you do matters. Sometimes you sit there, but sometimes really what you do matters a lot, right? It also tells you that proper conduct, it kind of explains what does it mean to do proper conduct. Proper conduct in the times of adversity should be based on the examples of first-rate army. So it's being fairly specific. It says, all right, you were really in the tough times, right? It's like a war, right? And if you want to navigate that the best you can, you probably should understand how does a good army operate, right? Maybe not very specific, but it's one way to look at it. And then it says a general means lasting power and loyalty via superior action and fair treatment of his soldiers. Whether you're a general or a soldier, it applies to both, right? If you're looking for loyalty of your soldiers, you need to be aware of certain things. If you're a soldier, you also have to kind of think, is my leader or my general is somebody I'm really willing to go to the end with, right? Or maybe not. So it really kind of prompts you to ask a lot of questions. What is not probably clear still is that what does it have to do with my question? And that's where this intriguing part of I Ching comes in. Sometimes it's your job really to match this with your question or whatever you're trying to answer. Sometimes it will be immediately clear right away. Sometimes it will not clear at all. Most of the time it will be somewhere in between, and you will decide what you want to take out of this for your actions.